Loss of birth, the change in birthright in the Dominican Republic in 2010. What would happen if the very country you live in just denies your access to live there one day? For many people living in the Dominican Republic in 2010, this was the reality. When the Dominican Republic rewrote its constitution in 2010 and changed the rules to citizenship, it didn't just tweak some laws, it cracked open a long simmering debate about who really belongs in the nation. Most people talk about this moment in legal and political terms, but this project will actually take a different approach and will look at the border as kind of landscape, not just a stretch of land or a line on the map. Here, the landscape isn't only about geography. It's loaded with meaning, shaping how people see themselves, who gets power, and who gets pushed aside. The border itself, think about the walls, checkpoints, murals, and the tense detention zones, stands as a physical marker of much deeper divide. It's not just about territory, it's about who counts as Dominican and who's viewed as an outsider. To really understand this, you have to look back at the history of the border, the fights, the stories that people tell about crime, and the 2010 citizenship law that redrew the line's national belonging. The Dominican-Haitian border isn't just a spot on the ground. It's a political background charged with race and where social hierarchies get built and enforced. It's where law, national identity, and ideas about race all crash together. This split runs deep. Since the earliest days when Hispaniola got carved into two, the border has meant more distance between neighbors. It marked two competing national identities. Dominicans over time created a sense of self that positioned themselves as white, Catholic, and Spanish-speaking. Everything that state said Haitians were not. In contrast, Haitian identity got linked with blackness, African roots, and the memory of the Haitian Revolution. None of this happened by accident. The state propaganda and historical events shaped it all. If there's one moment that burned this divide in collective memory, it's 1937 Parsley Massacre. Trujillo's soldiers used a single word, perejil, or parsley, as a deadly test. If you couldn't pronounce it in Dominican way, you were marked as Haitian, and that could mean death. Thousands of Haitians and their descendants lost their lives at the border. That horror did more than kill. It stamped the border as a place of fear, racial policing, and the twist of idea of purifying the nation. People haven't forgotten the trauma of the Parsley Massacre, lives in both countries. You see it in the murals, hear it in the stories, and feel it in the public rituals along the border. These images and memories aren't just about the past. They keep the pain and division alive, but they also show resistance. The border, in other words, has never been some empty, neutral space. It's a place where violence and exclusion have happened over and over, and where Dominican state has long used control of space to defend its idea of national purity. When you see it in this way, today's tensions aren't just about new waves of migration. They're rooted in decades of fear and racially charged politics. There's also another layer too. The story Dominicans tell themselves about crimes in politics and on the news. Haitians often get painted as a threat. Gangs sneaking across the border, undocumented workers putting pressure on services, migration-linked violence. These claims spread everywhere, and even through police and investigative journalists have said over and over, there's no real evidence connecting to Haitian migration to crime. The belief sticks. When the Dominican National Police went public, they said they weren't seeing any Haitian gangs crossing the border. It caught people off guard. Many couldn't believe it. Some just rejected the idea outright. The reaction says a lot about how deeply the image of Haitians as criminals as a part of the Dominican identity. Fear packs a punch. It's why crime stories hit so hard, especially when you see videos and photos online. Border fires, wrecked buildings, deserted drop-off sites, families looking terrified. It doesn't even matter if violence actually involves migrants or something else nearby. The image sticks and the sense of danger grows. The short film, Egalite for All, Toussaint Louverture, and the Haitian Revolution in 2009 helps explain why Dominicans near the border feel this fear. For many, gang violence just across the line of Haiti signals chaos they want nothing to do with. But the film also shows how fear isn't always about facts. Trauma, propaganda, and old judge twists into something bigger. So the crime story becomes part of the landscape, turning the border into a mental wall where emotion, identity push people further apart. Then there's citizenship, the state's clear show of force at the border. In 2010, the Dominican Republic changed its constitution, tightening the rules so only kids born to parents with legal migration status would count as citizens. 3 years later, the Constitutional Court handed down Judgment 168-13, saying the new rule applied all the way back in 1929. Suddenly, tens of thousands of Dominicans, mostly people with Haitian roots, lost their citizenship overnight because their parents were labeled as in transit or undocumented. Birth certificates and ID cards stopped being just paperwork. They became border checkpoints themselves. When people lost citizenship, they lost a lot more: access to schools, jobs, healthcare, voting, and even the freedom to move in their own country. But losing citizenship isn't just about legal status. It reaches deeper. People who'd always thought themselves as Dominican found the state calling them foreigners. The border wasn't just a line anymore. It showed up everywhere: classrooms, hospitals, universities, offices, all decided who counted and who didn't. The authorities made it real. Immigration stops, raids, and deportation tore families apart, yanked kids out of schools, and locked up people during regular ID checks. Hispaniola splits into two, not just by fences or rivers, but by documents, shame, and racial profiling. This isn't just about lines on a map. The border is guiding its own language, part legal, part symbolic. The state used to shape identity with land, fences, and police. Now it uses citizenship papers. The 2010 and 2013 changes act like new borders, making national identity something you have to prove, something that can be taken away. So that Dominican-Haitian border isn't just geography, it's a complex barrier woven into daily life. But there's pushback. Artists, activists, and human rights groups fight against the story that paints Haitians as a threat. They work to make stateless people visible, to challenge laws that try to erase them. Protest photos, murals showing unity, campaigns demanding citizenship. These things prove that the border isn't fixed. It's a place of struggle, debate, and sometimes hope. The Dominican citizen reforms didn't just redraw legal lines. They changed what territory, identity, and belonging mean for real people. When you look at this through the lens of landscape, you can see that the border as more than a physical divide. It's a charged political space the Dominican state uses to decide who gets to belong. Old wounds, fear-driven stories, and legal tools all come together to keep people out, making statelessness and inequality stick around. The border landscape isn't just a scenery in this story, it's used as a weapon.